Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas. And no, I have not cut my beautiful long hair. It is here. It is just warm because I am visiting Costa Rica, where I'm from, and it is 75 and this country has no AC. And it is unseasonably hot, which I'm not used to. So it is warm today. Today I have with me Daniel Laguado, founder and CEO at AI Risk Management Solutions. Daniel, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Thanks. Good, Tony, man. I hear you with Costa Rica. I visited, and yeah, you guys have no AC at all.
For real. And normally it's not a big deal. In the city of San Jose, temperatures are generally like 65. And my mom lives in a cold area of town. We're normally like 62. It is 75 right now. So yeah, this is weirdly hot. Okay.
Yeah.
And yes, if it's a little warm, like you like open the window, and that is your like.
That's crazy.
And of course, I after 22 years in the States, I'm very used to keeping the apartment at like an exact 70 all year round. All right. And you are in Miami. So I am guessing that on July 22nd, Miami is probably 95 degrees and 95% humid.
Horrible. Yeah, no, that's it. We get they call it summer and then hell, or winter and hell. We have no temperatures here. It's just always hot.
Yep. I'm very familiar with Miami. So Daniel, we always give the guest a chance to give the elevator pitch. What is AI Risk Management Solutions?
Sure. So AI Risk Management Solutions is, let's put it this way. I help property owners negotiate and settle insurance claims independently, right? And so just for a little bit of background, I'm a licensed public adjuster in the state of Florida. So I'm really useful to homeowners who are having disputes with their insurance company, right? So they hire me at a contingent fee. So if I recover for them, I recover for me. If I don't recover for them, I don't recover for me. So somewhere along the line, I kind of started thinking, man, I wish there was a way for me to have like proof and evidence so that when I go to like tell an insurance company, like, hey, I need $130,000, and they say, okay, cool. You have all the proof there. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like now. Here's an estimate. Make the process simple, right? And then I didn't have any of that. So you're really just arguing, right, with insurance companies about what the amount is going to be without really having a lot of proof. Normally, you have video, maybe the homeowner took some pictures, but it's never really enough. It's not concise. It isn't enough for them. So they always sell that could have been a lack of maintenance, or that could have been pre-existing damage. So it's really simple for them to throw that into the claim and, give you a partial denial or just deny the claim. So I started thinking, man, I got to get in there before there's an actual loss, because if I was there to document everything, when these people called me, I would already have a pre-loss file for them. I would come in and I would document all the damages, and I'd be the best public adjuster. That was the whole goal, right? And then I started to think, the idea evolved a little, and I was like, well, if my client had all that information before and I could give it to them after, they don't really need me to negotiate for them because they have all the proof. They have all the evidence on their side. So I was like, you know what? That sounds like there's a business there. That sounds like there's a niche. That sounds like there's definitely room in that space for me to help people. And that's what I do now. Instead of taking, 10 to 20% of their settlement, I come in, I offer them 24 cents a square foot to essentially create a pre-loss file for them. If something were to happen, we come back and we document everything for them in a way that is very simple for the insurance company to digest, right? So they're essentially buying data and they're giving data. So that's what I'm offering, right? The ability to showcase your property in the digital space to an insurance company who is going to take that digital evidence to create an estimate determination. So I'm just kind of expediting and streamlining the process for them so that they're not kind of caught without the proof, right? They really need proof. And now I'm offering that proof before there's a loss.
Okay. So how do you how do you build that proof? So in my mind, like this is as simple as
Mhm.
coming like a homeowner grabbing their iPhone camera and just take a picture of every room and a picture of the outside and the roof. Uh,
Right.
so I'm guessing that's not detailed enough to prove to the carrier in detail uh, what the property status was before the loss, right? So
Correct.
what how do you build this report?
So what I do, right, and I'm sure there's going to be different ways to do the same thing, but essentially what I'm doing is using drones, using high tech cameras to create essentially floor plans and layouts, and at the same time virtual tours. So what I'm doing is creating a system where we're all going to be able to share the same amount of information, right? So when they get this drone imaging, when they get this virtual tour, when they get this architectural sketch, it is literally the same property. And that's just before, right? When something happens, we come back and we do it the same way, right? Drones, virtual tours, layout. And then we kind of just have a before and after effect, kind of like a way to contrast what was there and what wasn't there. So yeah, it's a little, people tell me like, well, why can't I just do that? I'm like, you could try, but the reason that it works when I do it is because I already know what they want, right? I already know what insurance companies need in order to make these determinations, and I'm giving it to you in a way where it's simple for them to understand, right? If you do it on your own and you take video of all this stuff, you're still giving the carrier all this work to do, right? You're not really giving them anything. You're just kind of confirming, okay, that looks fine, this, but they still have to do all the work. When I do it for you, I am making it much simpler for them to take that information, process that information, and they can use that to create the estimate to essentially substantiate what's being claimed, right? So I'm making it simple for the insurance carrier, and you're just essentially making it still difficult for them. If you try to do it on your own, you're not really encompassing the full amount that they need, or you're not really giving them much to work with. So that's the difference. You could try, and it's obviously great for you to record on your own, but it's just not helping the insurance process your claim.
Okay. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
how how long does it take? So okay, so I have a home in Florida, uh,
Sure.
and want to do this for my own peace of mind, right? I always
Mm-hmm.
know that I'm not gonna have a loss. Everybody else is, right?
Right.
But own peace of mind. My neighbors have had long fights with insurance companies. I don't want to deal with that. Uh, so I give you a call. We I I'm cool with the 24 cents per square foot. Um, do you come in with a crew of 6 and take over my house for 2.5 days? Uh, what is the process like?
So it's definitely not going to be a crew of six. And yeah, to your point, so it all depends on the size of the property, right? Average home is what, 1,700 square feet in the United States. At 24 cents, that becomes about $408, right? It takes us about, I would say, less than an hour total for the average home, something like 30 to 40 minutes, right? Because once you're flying in the air, all properties are the same. You get to a maximum altitude, the property is the same. So that amount of time that it takes to document the exterior is always pretty much the same. The inside of your home is a different story because there's rooms that you have to document, and there could be a laundry room, it could be a mud room, big dining room, so it takes a little bit longer on the inside, but still just about the same as it does outside, about 20, 15 minutes. So the process is super quick, right? And what I always tell my clients is, hey, we're going to be in your house for a total of maybe 20 to 30 minutes. After that, you can leave because we don't even need access to the property anymore. Everything could be done from outside as long as the gates are open. So our windows are very short, right? We have very small windows because the job can get done very quick. So yeah, no, it doesn't really take a long time to do this. I'm not taking 2 days of your time, and I'm not putting 8 people in your home. One
Okay.
person, 30 minutes.
So pricing seems reasonable. The pain of right. This sounds only slightly more painful than the cable guy, uh, right? And hopefully more reliable and actually showing up when you say you will.
For
Uh,
sure.
Okay, so you hand me this file or set of files in a thumb drive kind of thing. Put it on the cloud for me. Um, and should I update it every 5 years? What's kind of the best practice on how do I make sure that this is still reliable information
Right.
when
Yeah,
something
no.
happens?
So essentially, yeah, I'm giving you a hard copy and we're keeping a digital copy. So if you lose yours, we still have yours backed up. And to your point, it's a set of files. Obviously, what I'm trying to do now is invest in a platform where it could all be centralized and encrypted, and we can give you like access via like a password and a username, right? So that you are able to get in and out without ever having to contact anybody. Right now, you're just relying that I'm sending it to you and that you store it and that it's somewhere when you need it. But yeah, I mean, essentially, I think the pricing is good because it's like, to your point, a way for them to not waste the time and money that's associated with public adjusters or attorneys, and that's just an added value, trying to prevent
How
a huge issue.
how is it distributed? Are you offering this through insurance agents as a benefit to their clients, or as a, hey, this will prevent loss, prevent pain if a loss does happen, or are you distributing only directly to the consumer?
So, I mean, right now I'm working for the consumer, right? I figured that there was like this disparity. There's this like unbalance of like insurance is having this like ultimate power essentially, right? With the attorney's fees associated now being the homeowner's deal, right? They have to pay for an attorney out of pocket. So it's kind of like incentivizing insurance companies to say, well, you know what? Take it to an attorney. We're going to deny his claim. We'll fight it out in court, right? So it's kind of the leverage was off, right? So I'm figuring, the consumer needs this the most. So that's why I figured, I'm gonna go to the consumer first. I feel like that is a great client base. That's somebody who actually needs this. But to your point, I'm probably gonna end up working with insurance as well, right? Because they just can't streamline the process quick enough, right? And again, like we're able to come in before they even insure the property to say, oh, this property is a well-maintained property. It's got a new roof. It's a newer construction. And yeah, I mean, we do this year after year, right? So the goal is to essentially archive every year's report of your house, right? Because like you asked me initially, was how long is this valid for? We couldn't do it every 5 years because then there would be a big gap of space where we don't know what happened. So how can you prove anything to them when there's such a big space missing? By doing it year after year, right? And we do a subscription-based model for that, right? It'll
Okay.
be like it's half of the cost, right? So about 12 cents a square foot for the year, and we break that payment down, however you want to finance it throughout the year. But essentially, doing it year after year is a way for us to have a geotag, time-stamped, non-fungible form of evidence, right? Where we know the property is in the same location year after year, and all the timestamps are the same, 2024, 2025.
Subscription wise, my
Mm-hmm.
quick back of the envelope math brings that to about 17 to 20 bucks a month for an average house. That's
Pretty much.
fantastic. That
Yeah.
that is fantastic. And okay. So I'm a former adjuster. Now, I was only an adjuster for a couple of years. I was an underwriter for a good while.
Okay.
I was an adjuster for a couple of years, and I only handled small claims, mostly auto. So I don't have the experience in property, but I I'm definitely a carrier side guy, and I have been involved. I've chatted with, gone to conferences, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, with a few thousand claims adjusters, like staff adjusters. And
Okay.
I've never found an adjuster that said, we got trained to unfairly deny claims. Every adjuster has been trained on we gotta pay what we owe, not more, not
Sure.
less. Okay. Now, there are of course issues. This is a legal contract, right? And if we can't document, or if the contractor is overcharging, or right, there's definitely issues that we have to negotiate through.
Mm-hmm.
So at first, when you said public adjuster, my first reaction is a defensive, like like yeah, it's a defensive reaction. But a public adjuster is much better than an attorney. And once you described the product that you're creating, so as I was thinking of it, what was I was thinking, if I'm an adjuster, or if I'm if I'm Florida Peninsula or any other Florida carrier or national carrier that has like heavy Florida presence, am I happy that my insureds are doing this ahead of time or not? And the answer is yes, I'm happy. Because and claims adjusters, if you disagree, I do welcome your comments.
Right.
Maybe we can make a debate. But from my
Right.
perspective, basically, we want to pay what we owe. And if we can do that quickly, a quick claim is a happy claim, right? A closed claim is a happy claim, right? Claims get infected if they stay open for a long time, and adjusters are perennially buried by too many claims. So if I'm a property adjuster and one claim is a pain in the butt because we just don't have the right documentation and we're having a hard time getting that, and the other claim, here's a pre-loss detailed inspection, right? And here's post-loss. This is real easy now, right? I have perfect data, or the closest thing we can have to perfect data.
Correct.
Should allow me to fairly and much more quickly pay that claim. So I would think that carriers would be happy to see this. And I think that in the long term, as it looks like you've been doing this for about a year and a half. Yeah. So I don't know if you've yet had actual losses.
Yeah, we've had losses.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I've already gotten
how are the carriers reacting at loss time with the clients that do have your that do have the pre-loss in detailed inspection?
It's literally the same thing we just talked about. It's very simple for them to understand. I had a client who was offered like about, so this is crazy, but I had a client who was offered about $18,000. This is a huge home, something like maybe 2,800 square feet, wood floors, crown molding, chair rail molding, baseboards are beautiful. And when I saw that offer, I was like, man, there's just no way, you know, there's something wrong here. We asked the insurance company or the desk adjuster and field adjuster to forward us the estimate, and with that estimate came the layout. The layout was completely wrong. So when we sent them the virtual tour and the layout of the property, in probably something like 24 hours or less, we had a $87,000 offer because of the mistake that they made. And see, I'm a big proponent on proof in the pudding, right? So this is exactly why this product works. Because had my client had this before the storm, mind you, this was after the storm that I came in to help them. And I was negotiating on their behalf as a public adjuster. But with just this one little piece of leverage, right? This one piece of proof, I was able to make a way better offer for my client because the proof is there. They realized, the carrier realized that they made a mistake in the dimensions of the property, and because they had all this proof from me, they were like, okay, we agree we made a mistake. Here's the offer now, and you know how it is. It's just it makes sense when the numbers make sense. We don't want them to pay any more or less, and I don't want them to feel that we're taking advantage or that I don't want us to feel like we're being taken advantage, right? The goal of my company is to create a bridge of transparency. When the carrier doesn't feel like there's fraud, when the homeowner doesn't feel like they're being taken advantage of, when everybody has the same amount of information, it's just to your point, it's simple. It's simple to see before and after. The estimate isn't inflated. We can actually pinpoint in the virtual tour every single bit of damage, and we can claim the claim the way it's supposed to be. We're not hyperinflating these estimates because there's no proof. There's no reason to. Everything is so visible and transparent that you can't lie even if you wanted to. So that's the goal, is to help them when it comes time to process these claims, is to streamline it for them. Hey, here's everything. Take a before, take an after. Look, we're repairing it. This is the repairs of the home. and this is what we need, so it's crazy, but I don't know why it doesn't seem more obvious that that is a solution for something like this, right? Especially with all the technology that we have available to us. It seems like we should have been figured this problem out, because it's huge, right? Insurance is huge, and fraud is huge within insurance. So to create a level of transparency and everybody on the same page, that is the ultimate goal for a system like this, I believe. And that's kind of what I'm doing. That's my whole thing.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah.
What are there any new features that are in development that you're excited about?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm excited about, to be honest. But essentially, what we're implementing is we're using AI to read through insurance policies. So most homeowners buy insurance, but they've never read their insurance
Oh yeah, of
policy
course.
ever.
They,
Right. So
they don't even have the
imagine.
skill to.
Yeah, imagine you go in and you say, "Hey guys, this is what your home's claim is worth. This is the estimate." And they're like, "But you didn't include the lanai." Well, you don't have lanai coverage in your policy. They're like, "No, I do." And you show them, read through the policy with me. There's an actual exclusion here. So they're upset when that happens, but they can't be upset at me, right? I'm not the one who did this. Obviously, you bought this policy. So that's the thing. I'm trying to get an expectation from them from the beginning. Like, hey, look, my product works very well, but if your policy doesn't work for you, then you're not doing anything, right? You have this great product that's going to help you recover what you're covered for. So we're using AI to read through the insurance policy. It's giving me a summary of coverages and exclusions and how these exclusions affect the coverages, right? So it's a very simple way for me to give them something that says, hey, this is what you need to beef up on your insurance policy. I suggest you get a rider for this. I suggest that you bump up your personal property, things like that. So it's kind of giving them notice that, yeah, maybe I'm not as protected as I think I am, right? My insurance policy might not be benefiting me when it really comes down to it. And I get it, sometimes people just don't have the budget to pay $13,000 a year, $14,000 a year for something that might not even be used that year. So that's kind of where I think this product works very well. Is we're going to be able throughout across the board, if we create a level of transparency, I believe insurance rate will go down, right? And so now you're going to be able to actually put a good amount of money into the good coverage, a good policy that'll benefit you, right? So I mean, besides that, everything's pretty hush hush. I'm trying to work diligently, right? That's why I'm not always on social media. I'm not really that kind of person. I believe in really just, if you have something, go make it work, help people out with it, and then eventually the marketing comes along with the growth, right? So for me, it's to create a plan, and I'm executing my plan as I thought it. Right. When I put it down on my whiteboard, when I had this idea, I planned it out, and I believe in not deviating, right? You know how it seems very easy to say, oh, I'm going to just go and do this, or let me jump into this. I believe if you had a vision, right? If you have a vision, you have to execute it.
Yep, and end up with huge scope creep.
Yeah.
All right, right. And are you serving only Miami-Dade, or are you serving Southern Florida? What's kind of the geographic range for now?
No, I'm in all Florida. Honestly, we're in
All
Tampa,
Florida.
Orlando, Key West. My whole goal is to grow Miami-Dade as rapidly as I can, because we're not ready for it. We haven't been hit with a storm in a long time, so a lot of my neighbors aren't ready. So I believe in, if you have something that can help people and you don't do your maximum effort to tell them about it, then I'm wasting my time. So I believe always help the people closest to you, because we think locally, we grow globally, right? So start where you are to make the promise happen, right? If I say I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. So that's why I've decided to make Miami-Dade the headquarter for this project, for this company. And obviously we're trying to grow outwardly, right? But yeah, we're already in a couple spots: Tampa, Orlando, Fort Myers, Cape Coral, Punta Gorda, Key West, and I'll go coast to coast. That's my goal. My goal is to go coast to coast, because there is insurance in pretty much every state, and there is an insurance issue in every state, right? Like California's got fires, they have earthquakes, and in the Midwest we have twisters, tornadoes. everywhere, right? So my goal is to empower people to do things on their own, and I just want you to have proof of it, so that it becomes easier to negotiate.
So
So I can do that in every state.
if we had an up-to-date um, drone view of the outside and high quality 3D view of the inside of every home in the country,
Yeah,
the claims would be a super simple thing, right? At that
it
point,
would be. It would be. And so just so you know, like the innovation part that we were just talking about, I have a vision for like a completely autonomous claim processing system. So that's the end goal, right? But to get to that point, I have to pretty much build it organically where people are still involved. And then we're going to go towards that point where we're going to do a handover, right? Where technology will be expediting technology. We'll use the tech to create more tech essentially. So that's my vision for the next 10 years is make it simple,
wow,
make it attainable, make it so simple for everybody. There's no barrier of entry. I'm excited, honestly. I am so fired up by this that I cannot I dream and work, you know, like every night I'm dreaming about working and it's crazy. But it's probably for a good reason.
fantastic. I'm glad that we're working towards that you're working towards transparency. That is that can only be a good thing for both
Yeah.
sides of the insurance relationship. So thank you very much for your time today.
No, man, thank you for having me. I look forward to talking to you again in a little bit, just to see how we've progressed, you know, how we've progressed.
Absolutely. Keep me posted. Thank you.
Definitely. All right, Tony, man, have a good night, okay?